Tamil open करावा नंतर आता खरंच मी चालू आहे
මොකද පිස්සුද පුතේ ඔයාට දෙනවා මම දැන් දෙකක් අල්ලාගෙන හොඳට
right, good evening හැමෝටම. very sorry මොකද මම චුට්ටක් මේ meeting එක arrange කරාට මේ පොඩ්ඩක් මට හිතපු වෙලාවටම ගෙදර යන්න බැරි වුණා. ඒක නිසා මේ Zoom session එක දැන් පටන් ගන්න හදන්නේ. මෙයා කිව්වට පස්සේ මම අපි translate කරනවා. Hazel, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, sure. You can continue now. Okay, thank you so much.
Perfect. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Perfect. So I'm just going to put it into a slideshow. So just to check that you'll still be able to see it. Can you still see it now?
Yes, sure.
Perfect. Okay, great. So my name is Hazel, for any of you who haven't joined us before, and I work with CPL Healthcare. So I'm just joining today to talk to you about the opportunities that we have for nursing roles in the UK. So you can see on screen there, just a quick agenda is just to let you know who we are at CPL Healthcare and how we can assist you. We'll have some testimonials from nurses who we've placed in the past. We'll go through the roles available and the requirements for those roles. I'll give a brief outline of the NMC process, and the NMC is the Nursing and Midwifery Council in the UK. So those are the board that you would need to register with to work as a nurse in the UK. We'll go through some of the common questions that come up, which is about bringing your family members with you to the UK, and also the relocation package, as well as the aftercare support that you get in the UK and from us at CPL Healthcare. And if you have any questions at the end, I'd be happy to take them as well. So just getting started with who we are at CPL Healthcare. So we're 32 years in business and we're part of the OSI group. We're Ireland's largest healthcare recruitment company. But although we're Ireland's largest, we do recruit to the UK as well as to Ireland. So we recruit nurses for full-time positions with hospitals in the UK, all of which who we're partnered up with are very well known and respected NHS trusts. And we have placed over 1,000 nurses in the UK to date. So that's a little bit about who we are. And now to just go over what we can do for you. So how do we assist you in the recruitment process? So we're very supportive through each stage of your recruitment process. If we receive your CV, we'll give you a call, have a quick discussion with you, and we'll send your CV to a hospital that we think suits your experience. If that hospital wants to invite you to interview, we will then do intense interview preparation with you before your interview to ensure that you're best prepared to sit the interview. We also would guide and support you with the hospital paperwork if you were successful in receiving an offer from that interview. We can guide and support you with the NMC registration process as far as we are able to. And we also assist you in your visa application. So if you were to apply for your visa, we will then log in, make sure everything has been applied for correctly, make your payment, and we'll also then book your flights when your visa comes through to come to the UK. And we also book a taxi to meet and greet you at the airport in the UK. And that taxi will then bring you to your accommodation in your respective hospital. So we're available pretty much 24/7 if you need our support.
Hazel, can I translate these things to our students?
Yes, please.
Okay, sure. Thank you. දැන් මෙහෙමයි මෙයා පැහැදිලි කරන්නේ මොනවාද එයාලගේ තියෙන facilities කියන එක. ඔයාලා OET හරි IELTS හරි පාස් වුණාට පස්සේ සම්පූර්ණ process එකම එයාලට CV එක යවුවට පස්සේ OET හරි IELTS result එකත් එක්ක ඒගොල්ලෝ one by one ඒ කියන්නේ සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම තනිකර එක්කෙනෙක් එයාලගේ ඔයාලත් එක්ක chat කරනවා. ඔයා මේ documents ටික ඊළඟට submit කරන්න මේක එහෙම කියලා එක්කෙනෙක් වෙනමම ඔයාලත් එක්ක කතා කරලා ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එක යන්න ඕන විදිය පැහැදිලි කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ යාලා සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම OIT එකේ සල්ලි සහ ඒ CBT කරපු ෆන්ඩ් ඒව සේරම ඒගොල්ලෝ ඔයාලගේ සැලරි එකට ෆස්ට් මන්ත් එකේම සැලරි එකට ඉන්ක්ලූඩ් කරනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි ටිකට් වීසා ඒ ඔක්කොම එයාලා එහෙන් බුක් කරනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි එයාපෝට් එකේ ඉඳන් හොස්පිටල් එකට යන්න ඕන ට්‍රාන්ස්පෝර්ට් ඒ ඔක්කොම වියදමුත් දරන්නේ යාළම තමයි. කිසිම දෙයකට 7-5ක්වත් වියදම යන්නේ නැහැ කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. ඒ ටික තමයි පැහැදිලි කරන්නේ. මේ මෙයාලගේ දැන් හොස්පිටල් එක ගැන විස්තර කියාවි. ඒ වගේම තමයි ඔයාලට ප්‍රශ්න අහන්නත් අවසානයේදී එයා සෙෂන් එක අන්තිමේදී කියාම ඔයාලට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න කියලා. දැනට පැහැදිලි කරන්න මේ ටික තමයි. Right, Hazel? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So you can see some feedback here about what we do at CPL. So these are from nurses who have worked with us and who have been placed in the UK. So you can see one nurse has said, CPL were very helpful with all of the processes of our placement from NMC registration until pickup from the airport. And a second nurse has had to say, my recruiting manager from CPL was very approachable and responded very well to all my queries, a great support from the beginning until the end. So that's just a little bit about us and what we do and how we can support you. So next, what I'm going to go through is some of the hospitals that we work with and the vacancies that they have. So the first one here is Cambridge University Hospital. And with Cambridge University Hospital, they are actually hoping to do a trip to Sri Lanka in the near future. So they've placed some really great Sri Lankan nurses already, and they're looking to find more nurses like that. So if you want to pay particular attention to, I suppose, the requirements for this hospital, because there is a likelihood that they will be coming to Sri Lanka to try and do in-person interviews if the interest is there. So there is a quick video here, but what I might just do, if it's okay, is to share the slides afterwards with your teacher, and then you'll be able to go through this in your own time. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
Perfect. Okay, great. So just to talk a little bit about Cambridge, just in absence of the video, it's one of the leading NHS trusts in the UK. So it's a very large hospital. There's over 1,200 beds and they're constantly expanding. So it is one of the leading NHS trusts in the UK. It has a really great reputation and they have vacancies across most main areas. So they have vacancies in the medical ward, the surgical ward, the ICU. They have some emergency department vacancies. They have theatres and scrub vacancies. They have vacancies in midwifery. Some more vacancies they have, which actually aren't mentioned on this slide, include in the neuro department and the ortho department. So they really do have lots of vacancies and they're constantly expanding. So this is constantly growing, this need. So the requirements for Cambridge in particular are that nurses must have a minimum of 12 months postgraduate experience. And that's for the medical surgical roles. And then any of the speciality roles such as the ICU or theatres or midwifery, they would have to have 18 months postgrad experience. Now, with the general roles for medical and surgical roles, you can interview from 9 months if you do stay in employment until you come to the UK. So you'd still have to complete a full 12 months experience, but you can interview from 9 months for those medical surgical roles. If they were to offer you a role then, that would be dependent on you finishing your last 3 months experience before you come to the UK. So you would have to stay in employment. The other requirements there are very similar to most hospitals that we work with, which is that the experience that you gain postgraduate must be in a minimum of 150 bedded hospital. And then, as is with all hospitals, you must pass your IELTS or your OET to the standard that the NMC wish, which is 7 in listening, speaking, reading, and a 6.5 in writing if you're sitting IELTS. And a B in listening, speaking, reading, and a C+ in writing if you're going to sit the OET. So next then, just to look at the relocation package for CUH. So CUH have a very competitive relocation package. They offer paid flights to the UK. They'll also pay for your visa. They'll reimburse you the cost of your CBT and your IELTS or your OET. They'll also cover the cost of a first attempt at your OSCE exam, which is sat in the UK. They also provide 1 month's free accommodation, and they allow for up to 5 additional months accommodation if you need it. They have a welcome pack when you arrive in the UK, which includes bedding and crockery and a food parcel just to get you settled in. You also will receive a friendly welcome from one of the members of their recruitment team. So when the taxi driver drops you off at the accommodation, one of the members of the recruitment team will be there to meet you. They also offer a 5-day induction program post NMC PIN. They have a dedicated clinical education team to support you in passing your OSCE exam and get your NMC PIN, and all of that is free of cost. So the training that they give you for your OSCE and the OSCE itself, the cost of that is covered by Cambridge. And they also provide ongoing support once you have received your NMC PIN. So the support with them is really 360. And also just on the accommodation matter, they have a deposit interest loan where you can get up to £3,000 interest-free if you're looking for a little bit of help in terms of financial help to put down a deposit on any kind of accommodation after you leave the hospital accommodation. And you can see here some of the things that nurses have to say about CUH. So one nurse has said, the knowledge, skills and support that CUH has provided me with and my fellow colleagues from overseas has been invaluable. I have been encouraged to pursue career opportunities and continue my development in a diverse and highly specialised area. From tailored OSCE programme and individual support to continuous professional development, CUH has inspired me to follow my dream, leading me into my current role as a HPB specialist support nurse. So that was one nurse's experience. And another nurse has said, the trust has truly helped me build my confidence as a nurse and has really guided my progression to my position today, which is where my ultimate passion lies, teaching and guiding students and newly qualified nurses as well. Looking back to how far I have travelled in my career in CUH, giving back through sharing my knowledge and skills to how I saw myself before is truly an honour and a privilege. So as you can see, there is really great opportunity in CUH to develop. So although you may join as a nurse in one particular area on one particular band salary, there's really great opportunity to develop your career with CUH. Okay, so the next hospital that we were recruiting for is called Royal Papworth Hospital. So this hospital is also located in the Cambridge area.
Sorry, we are unable to see your screen.
You can't see the screen. Is that everyone or is that just the one person?
No one.
No one can see.
Sorry, we are unable to see that.
Okay, let me stop
It's
sharing.
not there. You are still on the first page.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm very sorry about that. Let me stop sharing and I'll share again.
Uh-huh.
Okay, sorry about that now.
Okay, I'll translate until you are clean it. Okay, clear it.
Can I just ask, can you see it now?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, it's telling me I'm sharing my screen and I can see it my side. You still can't see it?
Now we can see.
Now it's okay. Now it's clear.
Okay, perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to translate, you can go ahead.
Okay, sure. Then මෙච්චරලා කිව්වේ මෙහිමයි දැන් ඔයාලට 1 year experience තියෙන්න ඕනේ ඔයාලගේ IELTS OET CBT වලට හැරෙන්න 1 year experience තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට යාළුවා ගාව medical nursing surgical nursing ඒවට තියෙනවා vacancy especially ඔයා වෙන ICU හරි theatre nursing ඒ වගේ යනවා නම් අවුරුදු 1කමාරක වගේ training එකක් කියන්නේ 18 months training එකක් experience තියෙන්න ඕන කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒ වගේම තමයි දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ අර මුලින් කිව්වා වගේ. හැබැයි මෙයා දැන් මෙතනදී කිව්වේ 1 month accommodations දෙනවා කියලා. හැබැයි කලින් නම් මට කිව්වේ 2 months accommodations දෙනවායි කියලා. මම හිතන්නේ මෙයාට චුට්ටක් වැරදුනා. 2 months accommodations තමයි දෙන්නේ. ඊට පස්සේ 5 month ගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ accommodations එයාලම arrange කරනවා. ඒක salary එකෙන් පොඩි ගාණක් කැපෙන විදියට 5 months වලට 5 months උනත් ඔයාලට ඉන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම තමයි family ඕන නම් family යන්න පුළුවන්. children ඕන නම් එක්කගෙන යන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඒකට එයාලා pay කරන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් තනියෙන් යනවා නම් එයාලා ඔක්කොම අපිට එයාපෝට් එකේ ඉඳන්ම ඒ සේරම pay කරලා ඔක්කොම ටික එයාලා pay කරනවා. හැබැයි family යනවා නම් ඒවට support කරන්නේ නැහැ. යන්න පුළුවන්. permission දෙනවා. හැබැයි family යනවා නම් ඉන්න තැන ඒ ටික ඔක්කොම තමන් තනියෙන් arrange කරගෙන තමයි කරන්න ඕන. ඒ වගේම තමයි ඔස්කි වල first attempt එකට එයාලා pay කරනවා. ඒකට ගයිඩ් කරනවා එයාලා. ඊට පස්සේ ගියාට පස්සෙත් එයාලා අර පැකේජ් එකක් දෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ කෑම ඒවා සතියකට දෙකකට ඇති වෙන ඒවා පැකේජ් එකක් දෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි එයාලා සල්ලිත් දෙනවා. ගියපු ගමන්ම ඒ කියන්නේ 500ක් වගේ ස්ටර්ලින් පවුන් 500ක් ඒ වගේ ගාණක් එයාලා දෙනවා. ඒක පඩියෙන් අඩු කරගන්නවද කියන එක නම් මට හරියටම ක්ලියර් වුණේ නැහැ. 500ක් ඒ කියන්නේ ගියපු ගමන්ම ඒක දෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒ වගේම තමයි අපේ ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ නර්සස්ලා දැන්ට ගිහිල්ලා ඉන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ නිල්මිනිස් ඇකඩමි එකෙන් ඉගෙන ගත්ත අපේ කට්ටිය ගිහිල්ලත් ඉන්නවා මෙයා මේ හිසල්ලා හරහා. ඒ වගේම ඊට හැරෙන්න ගියපු අයත් එතන ඉන්නවා කියලා තමයි මේ කිව්වේ. ඔයාලට මොනවා හරි ගැටලු තියෙනවා නම් ඊට පස්සේ අපිට මේ end of the session අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ chance එකක් දෙනවා ඔයාලට තියෙන ගැටලුව අහන්න කියලා. ඒ අතරදී ඔයාලට අහන්නත් පුළුවන්. හරි? right. දැන්ට යා පැහැදිලි කරගෙන යන විදිය දැන් මම හිතන්නේ දැන් ඔයාලට screen එක share වෙනවා. අපි බලමු මොනවද තව එයා කියන්නේ කියලා. right? Thank you Hazel.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So the next hospital then that we're also recruiting for is Royal Papworth Hospital. And as I said, this is also located in the Cambridge area. And this hospital is the leading cardiothoracic hospital in the UK. So it specializes in the heart and the lungs. And again, there's a little video here just to tell you a little bit about the hospital that again, I will send the PowerPoint again to your teacher and you'll be able to look at them again afterwards. But just to have an idea of what roles are available in Papworth, as I said, because it's cardiothoracic specialty, you'll notice that a lot of the roles are related to that. So they have roles on the cardiology ward, they have cath lab and bronchoscopy roles, they have roles in critical care, in respiratory ward, in their surgical ward, and in their theatres as both scrub and anaesthetics. So they're the roles and the requirements are much the same. So for nurses who want to be considered for the surgical wards, they actually must only have 6 months experience. So Papworth will accept CVs from 6 months experience for the surgical ward position, and all other vacancies mentioned in the previous slide have to have 18 months postgrad experience. Like Cambridge, they require a minimum of 150 beds. And they also require you to have passed your IELTS or your OET to the NMC standard. In terms then of their relocation package, again, they offer a very competitive relocation package. They actually pay band 4 pre-registration and they pay band 5 post-registration, which is once you have received your NMC PIN. They reimburse the cost of your IELTS or your OET exam. They reimburse the cost of the CBT, and they also reimburse the cost of your UK NMC PIN. The trust will also cover, like Cambridge, the cost of the visa, your flights, and your OSCE, as well as your OSCE training. There is 12 months accommodation available with Royal Papworth Hospital, and they also do offer a welcome payment as well. And you can see that there's terms and conditions that apply there. So if any of you would like to find out more about that, you can contact me afterwards. So again, we do have some testimonials from nurses from Papworth, but what I might do again is, because they're videos and because we've just had a few issues sharing, I'll just share this with your teacher afterwards and she'll be able to send it on to you. So finally, the third hospital that we are recruiting for is University Hospitals Dorset. So Sandhya, would you like to translate about Papworth before I move on?
No, you can go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, great. So this is the last hospital that we're currently recruiting for in the UK. This is University Hospitals Dorset. And this trust actually makes up of 3 different hospitals. There's a few different locations that you could work for if you were in this hospital. You can see here that those are 2 of the hospitals that are underneath the trust. And again, there's a little video here that you'll be able to watch after in your own time to see what the hospital is like. So in terms of the roles available in UHD, they have roles in the medical ward, the surgical ward, and also in theatres. So that's for scrub nurses in theatres. The requirements, again, are pretty similar. So with UHD, they actually require 24 months post-grad experience. So that's 2 years. However, the hospital bed count is a little bit lower. So they require just 120 beds. So that might suit some of you who maybe have been working for a little bit longer and don't quite hit the 150 bed capacity. So this one is just the 120. They do require that you've passed your CBT or that you have it booked by the time you go for interview. And also they require that you have successfully passed your IELTS or your OET, again, to the NMC standards. So the relocation package for this one is that they will pay for your visa. They'll reimburse the cost of your IELTS or your OET. They also pay the initial fee for your NMC registration. They'll reimburse you that. They cover the cost of your CBT, your flights. Similarly to Cambridge, they'll do an airport meet and greet and a paid transfer. They provide 6 months on-site accommodation also. And they also provide the OSCE training and the actual OSCE exam free of cost. And again, they also pay Band 4 pre-registration and Band 5 post-registration. So those are the 3 locations that we have at the moment who are hiring. Does anyone have any questions on any of those hospitals before I move on to the next part of the presentation?
right, okay. ඔන්න ඔයාලට මොන හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් දැන් අහන්න. එතකොට එයා explain කරાવી. ඔයාලට තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න ඕන කෙනෙක්.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see.
At the very first beginning that you said that we have to get the required score for OET or IELTS, and is it only the OET, IELTS or else CBT that we have to pass before the interview? Is that only the English exam or else?
Yeah, the English exam is what needs to be passed before interview for Cambridge and for Papworth. But if you want to be considered for Dorset, which is the last hospital I went through, they do require you to pass your CBT also before interview, but that's only University Hospitals Dorset. So for Cambridge and for Papworth, you just need to have passed your IELTS or your OET for interview.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for your question. I can't see the chat, so if there is any questions in the chat, if you might read them out to me, that would be great. And if not, we can move forward.
Yeah, excuse me, madam.
Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I have diploma in nursing. I am not still graduation. And then what happened to us? Then can we apply for this process, ma'am?
So they actually, as I said, they require between 6 and 12 months postgraduate experience. So if you're still completing your diploma in nursing, you would need to do your graduation, get some experience in your home country in Sri Lanka, working in a hospital. And once you have between 6 and 12 months experience built up, then you would be able to apply for the roles I've just spoken about.
Yes, ma'am. I have 17 years experience in hospitals, in Sri Lankan hospitals. And then should I have that?
Yeah, if you've been working in hospitals for 17 years and if you've passed your IELTS or your OET, then you'd be suitable to apply.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
No problem. Okay, is there any other questions or will we move on?
Hello, madam.
Yeah.
I just have 2 years experience of ICU. So I would like to ask you, can I apply for another section except ICU, like medical section, surgical section, like that?
Yeah, so Yeah, so some hospitals, when you're an ICU nurse, they will consider you for maybe the surgical ward or the medical ward, depending. And other hospitals, because you've been working in the ICU, would offer you an ICU position initially, but there is opportunity, especially with Cambridge, where if you were to come initially as an ICU nurse, you can actually apply internally 9 months after you get your NMC pin to change department. So they're pretty flexible in that sense. If they have I suppose if they have the vacancies, they'll try and accommodate you.
Yeah, thank you, madam.
No problem.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Miss Hazel. I'm Angela. I'm a graduate nurse. Now I'm currently working in a care home in the UK. It's a residential dementia care home. I need to know if I pass my OET and CBT, am I able to join as a band 5 nurse? Because I have a doubt. My nursing career was now discontinued. Could you please tell me, is it give me some disadvantage in NMC registration or enroll as a band 5 nurse?
Yeah, so Angela, if you're already in the UK, it depends how long you've been in the UK for and how long you've been out of work in a hospital. So what I might ask you to do, Angela, is to contact me after this. I'll put my my email address into the chat afterwards, and you can contact me directly, and I'll be able to give you more information over email if that's okay.
Okay, thank you, madam.
No problem. Anything else? Yeah, I see 2 hands up there.
Hello.
Is it JADCN?
Hello, ma'am. I'm Jaya Surya.
Hiya.
Yeah, it's me. I'm Jaya Surya. I have only pediatric nursing experience, more than 16 years. Can I join you? Can I? Hello.
Yeah, so what we require is a minimum of 12 months or to 6 to 12 months experience and for you to pass your IELTS or your OET. So for anyone who's been working in a 150 bedded hospital to 120 beds for over 1 year, you can certainly apply if you've passed your IELTS or your OET.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
No problem. And the last question I'll take just now is from, is it Ayoma? I see a heart up there, or a hand up rather.
Excuse me, madam.
Yeah.
Madam, is there any age limit for nursing in UK?
No, there's no age limit.
Thank you, madam.
No problem. Okay, if nobody has any further questions for right now, I might move on if that's okay. And I'll take more questions then at the very end.
Hello.
So, yeah.
I am working as a blood bank nurse since 8 years. Can I apply for this?
You're working as a blood bank nurse, is it?
Sorry, ma'am, can you ask?
I didn't hear your question. Could you repeat it, please?
Sure. I am currently working as a blood bank nurse since 8 years. Can I apply for NMC registration and work as a?
Yeah, so just to avoid any further similar questions, anyone who has worked as a registered nurse in any of the areas that we have vacancies for the last 12 months or more, and who have passed their IELTS or their OET, you can apply. So what I'm going to do now is move on, and I'll take more questions at the very end. So I just want to get through a little bit more of the presentation, and I'll take more questions at the end, and I'll also leave my email address in case there's anything that people would like to discuss privately as opposed to on the call. So the next thing that I'm going to go over is the NMC registration process. So all nurses must register with the Nursing and Midwifery Council in order to work as a nurse in the UK. So when you complete your online assessment, you will choose which division you want to register under. So that's either the peds, the adults, the midwifery, or the mental health division. So you create an online account, you provide proof of identity and of your qualification and your home registration information. And then if you meet the NMC requirements, then you will be invited to sit your OSCE and your CBT exam. So you can see there on the slide some examples of the documents that you need to upload. So that's your passport, your birth cert, police clearance, your proof of your qualification, some references, a declaration of good health, your transcript of training, and verification from your nursing school, just to make sure that you are who you say you are and you have the qualifications that you need. Okay, so the next part of the NMC registration, as I said, is when you're invited to book your CBT and your OSCE exam. So the CBT is a multiple choice exam and it takes place in two parts. The first part is the numeracy exam, which lasts about 30 minutes and there's 15 questions. And the second part is a clinical exam, which is 2.5 hours long. And again, that's 100 questions, multiple choice. The fee for that is £83 and that is reimbursed by the trust. And then your OSCE is the exam that will take place once you're in the UK. So the cost of the OSCE is covered by the trust, and they will also provide the training. So you can see there that the OSCE has 10 stations. 4 stations are linked around a scenario, and 4 stations are linked to test skills. And there's 2 new stations to assess the candidate's values and behaviour. And again, as I said, that cost is covered by the trust. So some more questions usually relate to the visa application process. So if you're to interview and your paperwork has been processed, the hospital will then send you a certificate of sponsorship. You then use that certificate of sponsorship to apply for your visa. So once you've done your visa application, we will then log in, make the visa payment for you, and check that everything has been answered correctly and to standard. And you will then be able to book your biometric appointment in your closest VFS office. So visas then are usually issued within 3 to 4 weeks after that. And the visa that you're applying for is a skilled workers visa, and that's eligible for 3 years in the UK. So people also often ask us about bringing your family to the UK. So you can certainly bring your family to the UK. You can apply for them as dependents on your visa. So the skilled workers visa I speak about here, you can apply for your family to come as dependents on that visa. There's just some requirements you have to meet, which is you need to have your full NMC registration, which means you need to have received your NMC PIN. And then also you need to show evidence of about £1,200 in your bank account each month, but you will also be receiving a salary by then, so that shouldn't be an issue. Finally, the last thing I'm going to talk about is the pastoral support. So I've mentioned it throughout the presentation, and I'm sure you probably have a good idea of what support we offer now, but there is kind of 3 stages to our pastoral support. So we at CPL will assist you prior to departure. We'll assist you with your NMC registration, your visa application, your flights and your transfer from the airport to the accommodation. Cambridge will also help you because they will, or any of the hospitals really, but if we're talking about Cambridge in particular, they will meet and greet you at the accommodation, and they also do calls before you arrive in the UK to prepare you and to answer any questions you might have. Then on arrival, as I said, you get a meet and greet at the airport and someone to meet you at your accommodation, and they'll also help induct you in the hospital. And then there's also continuous support from us. So we do check in regularly, and Cambridge are the same, and all the other hospitals, Papworth and University Hospitals Dorset, they'll also check in to make sure that you're getting on okay. So that's all from me at the moment. Thank you all very much for listening. If there is any further questions, I'd be happy to answer them now. And what I'm also going to do is just type my email address into the chat so that if anybody has any queries afterwards, they can send me an email if there's any questions that they don't want to share on the call here. So if there's any questions, I'll welcome them now.
Right, ඔයාලගේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න දැන් කියන්නේ presentation එක ඉවර කරන්න හදන. යා මේ presentation එක අපිට දෙනවා කියලා කියනවා. මම මේක දාන්නම් අපේ class එකේ chat එකට. ඒ වගේම තමයි මේ ඒ කියන්නේ NMC එක පටන් අරගෙන තිබුණත් නැතත් ඒගොල්ලෝ OET හරි IELTS හරි pass කියලා CV එක යවුවට පස්සේ යාලා සම්පූර්ණ process එකට help කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ දැන් අර අපේ නිල්මිනි මිස් academy එක හරහා ගියපු ඒ nurses ලගේ මම කතා කරලා බැලුවා මෙයාලකෝ මාර helpful ඒ කියන්නේ කිසිම දෙයක් doubt එකක් තිබුණේ නැහැ මොකද අහන්න කලින් හැම එකම step by step ඊළඟට මේක කරන්න ඊළඟට මේක submit කරන්න එහෙම කියලා සම්පූර්ණ support එක දුන්නා කිව්වා එයාපෝට් එකටත් ඇවිල්ලා මේගොල්ලෝ pick up කරලා ඉවරලා මේ ලොකු support එකක් දුන්නා කිව්වා අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ IELTS හරි OET හරි පාස් වෙන එක විතරයි ඊළඟට CBT කරන තැන ඉඳගෙන සේරම මේගොල්ලෝ process එක කරන්න ඕන විදිය කියලා දෙනවා IELTS වලින් නම් 7ව 3යි writing වලට 6.5යි OET නම් B3යි C+ එකයි ඒ ටික තමයි අපිට කරගන්න තියෙන්නේ අනිත් ඔක්කොම ඊළඟට මුකුත්ම වියදමක් යන්නේ නැහැ වියදම් කරන සේරම සල්ලිත් ඒගොල්ලෝ ආපහු රිෆන්ඩ් කරනවා නිල්මිනි මිස් academy එක හරහාත් අපි කිසිම මුදලක් අය කරන්නේ නැහැ totally free process එක සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ඔයාලට free ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ ක්ලාස් වල හිටියත් අපේ ක්ලාස් වල හිටියේ නැති කෙනෙක් වුණත් ඔයාලා අපිට පාස් වෙලා CV එක ඉව්වට පස්සේ මට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම මේ සම්පූර්ණ process එකම totally free කිසිම මුදලක් ඒ කියන්නේ registration fees වල කිසිම දෙයක් නැහැ totally free තමයි අපි process එක කරන්නේ එයාලත් totally free ඒ වගේම අපි මේ කියන්නේ OET CBT යන වියදම් ඔක්කොම ආපහු ඒගොල්ලෝ රිෆන්ඩ් කරනවා ඒක නිසා සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම process එක free එතකොට ඔයාලට කරන්න තියෙන එකම දේ තමයි exam pass වෙන එකම විතරයි කරන්න තියෙන්නේ ඊළඟට CV එක එවන්න CV එක එවුවට පස්සේ අපි ඊටු ටික arrange කරලා දෙනවා ඔයාලට දැන් මොනවා හරිම ගැටලු තියෙනවා නම් හේසල්ගෙන් අහන්න right
Thank you very much. Thanks, Sandhya. If anyone has any questions, as I said, I'd be happy to answer them now, or I have put my contact details, my email address and my WhatsApp number into the chat. So if you'd rather to contact me directly afterwards, that's fine. And just to say thank you as well to all the lovely nurses who have joined, who have messaged me to say thank you. That's very kind of you. And thank you all for joining.
Thank you. ඔයාලගේ ප්‍රශ්න hands up කරලා තියෙනවා සමහර අය මොන හරි යාට අහන්න දෙයක් තියෙනවා නම් අහන්න.
Excuse me, madam. I want to know the degree is compulsory or not.
Pardon, could you repeat that?
What?
I didn't quite catch your question. Would you be able to repeat it, please?
Diploma එක ඇති degree එක ඕනේ නැහැ.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Hello, madam. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi, madam. Do you have any intention to avoid or ban the dependents?
Yeah, so you can, as I said, you can apply for your dependents to come on your visa once you have your NMC PIN. So that would be for you to look after once you're in the UK. So we look after your visa and you can then apply for your dependents to come as dependents on that visa.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
In the future, they are in the UK. Are they planning to restrict the nurses to overseas?
Are they planning to restrict the nurses, as in not recruit as many overseas nurses? Is that your question?
Yes, ma'am.
So no, so the hospitals that we're working with are continuously recruiting overseas nurses. So they have a large demand for nurses, Cambridge University Hospital in particular. As I mentioned, they're actually hoping to come to Sri Lanka to do some in-person interviews at some point. So they're definitely still interested in recruiting overseas nurses.
Hazel, how about it for caregivers?
Caregivers, I'm afraid we don't have any vacancies at the moment. So the vacancies are for kind of the registered nurses and for midwives. We actually don't have anything for caregivers at the moment.
Okay.
Ma'am, my name is Kanchana. I have 18 plus daughter. So do trust allowed to take as a dependent her?
Yeah, your family can come as dependents. So what I'll do is I'll share with your teacher the link to the website, because it's actually yourselves who look after the dependents on your visa. So I'll share the link to the website where you can find out more information on exactly how you can do that. Let me actually do it now while I'm answering these questions. So if there's another question, I'll share the link in the chat, and that's the easiest way to do that.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can I please know, do you accept the NARIC certificate instead of the OET or IELTS?
So this actually isn't us, but on the NMC website in the Q&A section, it says that they don't currently accept NARIC certificates. So you would have to contact the NMC directly on that one to see if they can accept your certificate or accept your training. If you've trained and been assessed through English and you have other proof other than your NARIC, they may accept that. So that's kind of something for the NMC. So what I'll do is, again, I'll send in the link now for the NMC English requirements, and you can have a look on the website and you can contact them then to ask them directly.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
No problem. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah.
So are you going to apply the visa after 3 years also, or do we have to apply another hospital after 3 years once a 3-year gap is finished in your hospital?
No, there is an opportunity to extend that visa for another 2 years. So it's 3 years initially, but there is the opportunity to extend it for another 2 years.
I mean, first 3 years, again extending 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
No problem.
Ma'am,
yeah.
That you mentioned in that PowerPoint that dependents want to show nearly £1,200 in that account. The question is, in the amount we have to show in the dependents account, or else in our account. With that, how many months we have to show that amount in our account?
That's in your own account as far as I'm aware. So as I said, what's best to do is I have sent the link into the chat. So you can show there's a breakdown exactly on the link that I sent called money they need to support themselves. So if you follow that link I sent into the chat with the worker visa, you'll see the exact breakdown of what each person needs in their account.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
No problem.
After completing that 5 years period, can you extend more than years expected?
I'm really sorry, I actually can't hear you very well. If you want to type your message into the chat, I can see the chat now and I'd be happy to answer it there, but I can't quite hear your question.
Yes, madam. As you told before, you told that we can stay in your country for 5 years period. After completing 5 years period, what's happened to us then? If we need to stay more than that, what should we do then?
So that will be
in your country.
That would be something that you would have to discuss with the visa office. So that wouldn't be us. So if you were to apply for the 2-year extension, that would be with the hospital. So the hospital would be best to answer that question. If you were to go to interview, you could ask them that at the end.
Yeah, thank you very much, madam.
No problem.
Hello, madam. I have already cleared my CBT in mental health nursing. Is it valid in 2 years or any other 6 months or related months?
So we don't have any vacancies at the moment for psychiatric nursing, but hopefully we will have some in the near future. So I will get in contact with your teacher once we have those vacancies, and she will be able to put it into your group chat and let you all know.
Thank you very much.
No problem. So just before anyone else asks the question out loud, I just see some questions in the chat. Can dependents come with us? Is the accommodation supplied for them too? So the accommodation is single occupancy accommodation. So the accommodation is for you alone. So your dependents can't stay in that accommodation. So what we say is if you're applying for dependents on your visa, it needs to be once you have your NMC PIN. If you want them to come with you the exact time you relocate, then you have to apply for a visitor's visa and you would have to find your own place to live. So we always recommend to wait until you have your NMC PIN if you can, and let your dependents come over then once they can apply for your visa. So that's what we would recommend. And the next question, can we extend our period of after the 5 years? I think I've just answered that. And could you share the dependent account details? So that is actually in the link I've sent above. So I've sent a link to everyone. It's www.gov.uk skilled worker visa, your children and partner. So that all the information you need is at that link. So if you click on that link, you'll be able to. And your dependents, another question has come in. Your dependents can stay for as long as you can stay on your visa. I'm not sure about this. You're single and you want to bring your parents or your siblings. You would have to look into that on the visa website again to see if they are put down as dependents. How long will it take to get a visa? Usually visas can be processed in about, let's say 3 to 5 weeks. Another question. So this is another question about, working as a care assistant in the UK and wanting to join. So if you email me directly afterwards, I'd be happy to get back to you. Can we combine 2 OET results? Yes, you can. So you can club your OET scores and they're acceptable as long as you meet the minimum requirement. You can do that. Process. So no, there's nothing to stop your visa. If your visa is approved, it's approved. To the NMC process, if you're at the start of the process, it can usually take about 6 months to relocate. So the NMC process can take about 4 to 6 months to do completely. And let me just see what's the other questions. Your CBT results are valid for 2 years. So those are all the questions I have in the chat at the moment. If nobody else has any other questions, I will be happy to, as I said, take any afterwards, but there's no more in the chat at the moment. Oh, there's 2 more just came in. Vacancies for midwives. Yes, we do have vacancies for midwives. And that's kind of all at the moment that I see in there. There's a question about permanent residency. It doesn't, the visa that we have is a working visa, so it's not a permanent residency. It's a skilled workers visa. So that's kind of all from me now. If it's okay, I might leave it at that. And as I said, if you have any questions, you can get in touch with me again afterwards. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, sure. Thank you so much, Hazel. I think it's a really valuable sessions. Thank you so much for your information and each and everything. Okay. Hari එහෙනම් හැමෝටම thank you very much. අපි මේක share කරන්නම්. ඒ කියන්නේ recording එක මම හිතන්නේ ගන්න පුළුවන් අපිට. recording අපි group chat එකට දාන්නම්, class එකට දාන්නම්. ඔයාලට මොනවා හරි ඔයාලා pass ආയി ඉන්නව නම් CV එක forward කරන්න. අපි totally free process එක කරනවා. සහභාගී වෙච්ච හැමෝටම thank you very much. Right, thank you so much, Hazel. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Bye.